The day had started like any other, filled with routine and the humdrum of life. But it ended in a way that would forever change my existence. I arrived home earlier than usual, a decision prompted by an unexpected break in my work schedule. As I walked through the front door, the house was eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the usual bustling noise of our family life. I climbed the stairs, each step echoing ominously in the silence. As I reached our bedroom, I noticed the door slightly ajar. Pushing it open, my heart stopped. There, on our bed, was my wife, Jess, entangled in the arms of another man. The image seared into my brain, a painful and permanent scar. "Jess!" I shouted, my voice breaking with the shock and betrayal. The man, a stranger to me, scrambled to gather his clothes and flee, but I barely registered his presence. My eyes were locked on Jess, searching for some explanation, some indication that this was all a horrible mistake. "Tom, she began, but I couldn't bear to hear her voice. Rage and despair surged through me. "How long?" I demanded, my voice trembling. She hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was something far more sinister. "For 3 years," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. 3 years. My world crumbled. Every moment, every memory of the past 3 years was tainted, corrupted by her betrayal. I stormed out of the bedroom, out of the house, needing to escape the suffocating reality that my marriage, the life I had built, was a lie. Jess followed me, pleading for a chance to explain, to make things right. But there was no making this right. The trust was shattered, and with it, our marriage. I spent the night in my car, parked in a nearby lot, trying to process the avalanche of emotions. Anger, hurt, betrayal, and a profound sense of loss. How could she do this to our family, to our children? The next morning, I returned home with a clear mind and a resolute heart. Jess was waiting, her face etched with regret and fear, but my decision was made. "We're done, Jess. I want a divorce." Her pleas and tears couldn't sway me. The damage was irreversible. As I gathered my things preparing to leave, I thought of our children. They were the innocent victims in this mess, and I vowed to protect them, to be their rock in the storm that was about to hit. As I walked out of the house, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Pain and sorrow, yes, but also a sliver of relief. The first step towards a new beginning, even if it was born from the ashes of betrayal. I knew the road ahead would be tough. Divorce, custody battles, the emotional toll on our kids. But I was determined to face it all. Jess had destroyed our marriage, but I wouldn't let her destroy our family. And so, with a heavy heart but a determined spirit, I set out to rebuild my life from the ground up, leaving behind the wreckage of a love betrayed. The days following the revelation of Jess's infidelity were a blur of emotions and decisions. I moved into a small apartment not far from our family home to remain close to the kids. The pain of seeing their innocent faces and knowing how their world was about to be turned upside down weighed heavily on me. Each day I woke up to the same reality. My wife had betrayed me, and our marriage was over. I threw myself into work, trying to drown out the thoughts that tormented me. But every quiet moment, every lull in activity, brought the pain rushing back. Jess and I sat down to have the talk that I dreaded but knew was necessary. We needed to figure out how to explain the situation to our children, to prepare them for the changes that were coming. We decided to tell them together, hoping that our united front would provide some comfort in the face of their confusion and sadness. When the time came, we gathered them in the living room. Tommy, our 10-year-old, and Lily, just 7, looked at us with wide, curious eyes. Jess began to speak, her voice trembling. "Kids, we need to talk about something important. Your dad and I have decided that we can't stay married anymore." Tommy's face scrunched up in confusion. "But why, Mom? Don't you love each other?" Jess glanced at me, tears welling in her eyes. "Sometimes grown-ups have problems that can't be fixed, no matter how much they love each other. But we both love you very much, and that will never change." Lily, sensing the tension, started to cry. I reached out to hold her, trying to offer some comfort. "It's going to be okay, sweetheart. We're still a family, even if things are going to be different." The days that followed were filled with legal appointments and endless paperwork. Jess and I agreed on joint custody, striving to make the transition as smooth as possible for the kids. I met with my lawyer to discuss the division of assets and how best to protect my interests and those of my children. At night, alone in my apartment, I often found myself overwhelmed with anger and sadness. The memories of our life together, the happy times, haunted me. How had it come to this? How had Jess allowed our marriage to crumble for the sake of an affair? Friends and family rallied around me, offering their support and encouragement. My best friend Mike was a constant presence, dragging me out of the apartment for drinks or a game of basketball to keep my mind occupied. My parents offered to help with the kids, giving me some much-needed respite. One evening, as I was putting the kids to bed, Tommy looked up at me with a seriousness that belied his years. "Dad, are you and Mom going to be okay?" I knelt beside him, smoothing his hair. "We're all going to be okay, Tommy. It's going to be hard for a while, but we'll get through it. We're strong, and we have each other." His small arms wrapped around my neck, and for a moment the weight of my pain lifted. The bond with my children was unbreakable, and they gave me the strength to face each new day. As weeks turned into months, a new routine began to take shape. The kids adjusted to spending time between two homes, and I began to find a semblance of peace. The hurt was still there, a constant undercurrent, but I was determined not to let it define my future. Jess made several attempts to reach out, to apologize, to explain, but I couldn't bring myself to engage with her beyond what was necessary for the kids. Her betrayal was too deep, the wound too fresh. I needed time to heal, to find myself again. And so, I focused on the things I could control: my relationship with my children, my work, and my journey toward healing. The path ahead was uncertain, but I was resolute. I had survived the storm, and now it was time to rebuild, stronger and wiser than before. The days blended into weeks as I settled into my new life. The kids seemed to be adjusting well to the new arrangement, splitting their time between my apartment and the house with Jess. Despite the chaos, I could see moments of resilience and strength in them that gave me hope. One evening, after dropping the kids off at Jess's, I found myself driving aimlessly. The city lights blurred as my thoughts drifted to the inevitable conversation Jess and I needed to have. We had skirted around the deeper issues, focusing on logistics and the children. But I knew that to truly move forward, we needed to address the elephant in the room. I decided to call her and suggest we meet in a neutral place, a coffee shop we used to frequent before our lives became so complicated. She agreed, and the following evening, I found myself sitting across from her, a steaming cup of coffee between us. Jess looked tired, her eyes shadowed with regret and worry. For a moment, I felt a pang of empathy. Despite everything, she was still the mother of my children, and there had been a time when we had loved each other deeply. "Tom, I'm sorry," she began, her voice breaking the silence. "I know that doesn't change anything, but I need you to know that I'm truly sorry for what I did." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my emotions in check. "Why, Jess? Why did you do it? Was our life together really that unbearable?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "It wasn't unbearable, Tom, but I felt lost, unhappy. I know that's not an excuse, and I'm not trying to justify what I did. I just—" She paused, struggling to find the right words. I felt like I was drowning, and the affair was a way to escape. I looked at her, trying to process her words. "You should have talked to me, Jess. We could have worked through it together. Instead, you chose to destroy everything we built." "I know," she whispered, "and I regret it every single day. But you need to understand, Tom, it wasn't about you. It was my weakness, my own mistakes." Silence settled over us, heavy and uncomfortable. I took a sip of my coffee, gathering my thoughts. "Jess, I'm not sure I can ever fully forgive you, but for the sake of our kids, we need to find a way to coexist. They need both of us, and they need us to be civil." She nodded, wiping away her tears. "I want that too, Tom. I want to do whatever it takes to make this as easy as possible for them." We talked for a while longer, setting some ground rules for our interactions and discussing how we could support the kids through this transition. It wasn't easy, and there were still raw emotions on both sides, but it was a step forward. As I left the coffee shop, I felt a strange mix of emotions. The conversation hadn't erased the pain, but it had provided a small measure of closure. We were two people trying to navigate a difficult situation, and while the road ahead was still uncertain, we had taken the first steps towards healing. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about the future. There was still a lot to work through, but I was determined to build a new life for myself and my children. Jess's betrayal had shattered our marriage, but it hadn't broken my spirit. I was starting to see the glimmer of a new beginning, and with each passing day, I felt a little bit stronger. The scars would remain, but they would serve as a reminder of my resilience and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. The weeks that followed our conversation were challenging, but they also marked the beginning of a new chapter. Jess and I managed to maintain a civil relationship, focusing on co-parenting and making sure our children felt loved and supported. The tension between us slowly began to ease, replaced by a mutual understanding of our roles in each other's lives. One evening, after finishing dinner with the kids, I tucked them into bed and sat down with a glass of wine. My phone buzzed, and I saw a message from Mike, my best friend. He had been a constant source of support, always pushing me to get out and not wallow in self-pity. "Hey man, let's grab a drink tonight. You need a break." I hesitated for a moment. The idea of stepping back into the social scene was daunting, but I knew it was time to start living again. "Sure," I replied. "Where?" A few hours later, I found myself in a lively bar downtown, surrounded by the hum of conversations and laughter. Mike was already there, nursing a beer and chatting with the bartender. He greeted me with a grin and a slap on the back. "Glad you could make it, Tom." We talked about everything and nothing, work, sports, memories of our college days. It felt good to be out, to be reminded that life went on. As the evening progressed, Mike nudged me and nodded towards a group of women at the other end of the bar. "See anyone you like?" I rolled my eyes but couldn't help but smile. "Not tonight, Mike. Just here for the company." He shrugged. "Fair enough. But remember, it's okay to start thinking about the future." As the night wound down, I found myself relaxing, the weight of the past few months lifting slightly. Mike was right. It was time to start thinking about the future. A few days later, I was at the park with the kids, watching them play on the swings, when I noticed a woman sitting on a bench nearby reading a book. She looked up and smiled as our eyes met. There was something familiar and comforting about her. Later, as we were packing up to leave, she approached me. "Hi, I'm Megan. Our kids seem to get along well. Maybe we could set up a playdate sometime." I was taken aback by her straightforwardness, but pleasantly surprised. "Hi, Megan. I'm Tom. That sounds great. My kids, Tommy and Lily, would love that." We exchanged numbers, and over the next few weeks our paths crossed more frequently. Playdates turned into coffee chats, and I found myself looking forward to our conversations. Megan was easy to talk to, her presence a soothing balm to my frayed nerves. One afternoon, after the kids had run off to play, we found ourselves alone on the park bench. "You know, I've been through a rough time recently," I admitted, feeling a need to share my story. Megan listened intently as I recounted the past few months. The betrayal, the divorce, the struggle to rebuild my life. When I finished, she placed a hand on my arm. "I'm so sorry, Tom, but I'm glad you're finding your way through it. You're stronger than you think." Her words resonated deeply. For the first time in a long while, I felt a flicker of hope, a glimpse of what could be. Megan and I continued to see each other. Our friendship grew into something more. She became a confidant, a source of strength, and gradually, my feelings for her deepened. As winter turned to spring, our relationship blossomed. The kids adored her, and she brought a lightness to our lives that had been missing for so long. One evening, as we sat on my porch watching the sunset, I took her hand. "Megan, I never thought I'd find happiness again, but you've given me that. Thank you." She smiled, her eyes reflecting the setting sun. "Tom, you've given me just as much. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us." The past year had been a whirlwind of emotions, but as I looked at Megan, I knew that I was on the path to healing. Jess's betrayal had been a devastating blow, but it had also led me to this moment of clarity and hope. I had learned to embrace the future, to find joy in the present, and to believe in the possibility of new beginnings. The process of finalizing the divorce was as emotionally taxing as I had anticipated. Each meeting with the lawyer, every document signed, felt like another nail in the coffin of the life Jess and I had built together. Despite the new beginning, I was finding with Megan, the reality of officially ending my marriage weighed heavily on me. Jess and I met with our respective attorneys in a sterile conference room. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the air heavy with unspoken regrets and the sadness of what could have been. We reviewed the final details of our settlement, confirming the division of assets and the terms of custody for Tommy and Lily. Jess looked at me across the table, her eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and resignation. "Tom, I hope one day you can forgive me," she said softly. I sighed, feeling the weight of her words. "I'm trying, Jess. For the sake of the kids, I'm trying." With the final signatures, our marriage was officially over. I left the office feeling a strange mix of relief and grief, a chapter of my life closing for good. It was time to focus on the future and on being the best father I could be for my children. That evening, I picked up Tommy and Lily from Jess's house. They sensed the change, their questions filled with innocent curiosity. "Is everything okay, Dad?" Tommy asked as we drove home. I glanced at him in the rearview mirror, forcing a reassuring smile. "Yes, everything is fine, buddy. We're going to be just fine." Back at the apartment, I decided it was time for a family night. We ordered pizza and watched movies, and I did my best to create an atmosphere of normalcy and fun. Seeing their smiles and hearing their laughter reminded me of my purpose and the reason I had to keep pushing forward. Over the next few weeks, life began to settle into a new routine. The kids adapted well to the back and forth between homes, and I continued to build my relationship with Megan. She was a constant source of support, always understanding and patient as I navigated this challenging period. One weekend, Megan suggested we take the kids on a short trip to a nearby lake. It was the first time we'd all spent an extended amount of time together, and I was both excited and nervous. The trip turned out to be exactly what we needed, a break from the stress and a chance to bond as a new kind of family. We spent the days swimming, hiking, and laughing around the campfire at night. Tommy and Lily were over the moon, their joy infectious. As I watched them play with Megan, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Despite everything that had happened, I had found someone who not only loved me, but also cared deeply for my children. One evening, as we sat by the lake watching the sunset, Tommy climbed into my lap. "Dad, do you think we can be happy again?" I hugged him tightly, my heart swelling with love. "Yes, Tommy, I know we can. We're already on our way." The finalization of the divorce had been a painful but necessary step. It marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. I had lost a lot, but I had also gained a new perspective on life, love, and what it meant to truly move forward. With Megan by my side and my children's unwavering love, I felt more hopeful than I had in a long time. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but I was ready to face them head on. Together, we would build a new future, one filled with promise and the strength to overcome any obstacle. The rhythm of our new life began to feel almost natural. The kids adapted well to splitting their time between two homes, and the bond between Megan and them grew stronger each day. As for me, I found myself more at peace, grateful for the stability and happiness that were slowly returning to our lives. One Saturday afternoon, Megan and I decided to take the kids to a local fair. The fairground buzzed with activity. Bright lights, laughter, and the tempting smells of popcorn and cotton candy filled the air. Tommy and Lily ran ahead, excitedly pointing out the rides they wanted to try first. Megan and I followed hand in hand, enjoying the simple pleasure of watching the kids' excitement. "You know, I think we're starting to come together as a family," Megan said, squeezing my hand gently. I smiled, feeling a warmth spread through me. "I think so too. I'm so grateful for you, Megan. You've brought so much joy back into our lives." As the day wore on, we rode the Ferris wheel, played games, and indulged in too many fair treats. Seeing Tommy and Lily's faces light up with pure joy was a reminder of what truly mattered. Despite the hardships, these moments of happiness were worth every struggle. Later, as the sun began to set and the fairground lights twinkled against the evening sky, we gathered around a picnic table to share a final treat. Lily looked up at Megan with her big, curious eyes. "Megan, do you love my daddy?" The question caught me off guard, and I looked at Megan, wondering how she would respond. She met Lily's gaze with a warm smile. "Yes, Lily, I do. I love your daddy very much." Tommy, ever the thoughtful one, chimed in. "And us? Do you love us too?" Megan's eyes softened, and she reached out to touch Tommy's cheek. Of course I do, Tommy. I love both of you very much. You're like my own kids. The sincerity in her voice touched me deeply, and I felt a surge of gratitude. Megan's love and acceptance of my children were the foundation upon which our new family was being built. I realized then just how lucky we were to have her in our lives. As we walked back to the car, Tommy and Lily chatting animatedly about their favorite parts of the day, I pulled Megan close. "Thank you," I whispered, "for everything." She looked up at me, her eyes shining. "We're in this together, Tom, always." Our weekends became a blend of new adventures and cherished routines. We went hiking, explored museums, and even tried our hand at baking, which often ended in flower-covered laughter. Each activity, no matter how simple, brought us closer together. One evening, as we were gathered around the dinner table, Tommy brought up the idea of a family game night. "Dad, can we have game night every Friday? It would be fun to have a tradition." I looked at Megan, who smiled and nodded. "I think that's a great idea, Tommy. What do you think, Megan?" She beamed. "I love it. Let's make it a tradition." And so, every Friday night became game night. We played everything from board games to charades, our laughter filling the apartment. These evenings became a cornerstone of our new family life, a time to unwind and enjoy each other's company. As the months passed, our bond with Megan grew stronger. She was more than just a partner to me. She was becoming a mother figure to Tommy and Lily. I could see the positive impact she had on them. Tommy was more confident, and Lily was more open and joyful. One weekend, we took a trip to the countryside, renting a cozy cabin by a lake. The serene beauty of the place provided the perfect backdrop for reflection and connection. We spent our days fishing, swimming, and roasting marshmallows by the campfire at night. Sitting by the fire one evening, with the kids tucked in bed, Megan turned to me. "Tom, I've been thinking, I want to be a permanent part of your life, our life." My heart skipped a beat. "Megan, I feel the same way. You've become such an important part of our family. I can't imagine our lives without you." At that moment, under the starry sky, I knew that the future held promise. Jess's betrayal had shattered our old life, but it had also paved the way for something beautiful and new. With Megan by my side, I was ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Our journey wasn't without its challenges, but together, we faced them head on. The bond we shared grew deeper, fortified by love, trust, and a commitment to each other. As I looked at Megan, I realized that we had found our way through the darkness and into the light of a new beginning. Life moved forward with a sense of stability and hope that had been absent for so long. The bond between Megan, the kids, and me continued to strengthen, creating a new sense of family. However, amidst this newfound happiness, Jess's struggles became increasingly apparent. One evening, while the kids were at Jess's house, I received a call from her. Her voice was strained, laced with frustration and despair. "Tom, can we talk? It's about the kids." I hesitated, the old wound still fresh, but agreed to meet her the following day at a nearby coffee shop. When I arrived, Jess looked worn down, the toll of her choices etched into her features. "Thanks for meeting me," she began, her eyes avoiding mine. "I've been having a really hard time, Tom. The kids, they seem distant. They don't talk to me like they used to. I feel like I'm losing them." I sighed, feeling a mix of empathy and anger. "Jess, you have to understand that what happened affected all of us. The kids are trying to make sense of everything. It's not easy for them." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I know I made a huge mistake. I'm trying to make up for it, but it feels like everything is falling apart. I lost my job and my relationship with him ended. I don't know what to do." I looked at her, seeing the woman I had once loved, now struggling with the consequences of her actions. Despite everything, she was still the mother of my children, and I couldn't ignore her pain. "Jess, the kids need stability. They need to see that you're making an effort to be there for them. It's going to take time, but you have to be patient and persistent." She nodded, wiping away her tears. "I'll try, Tom. I miss our family. I miss what we had." I didn't have an easy answer for her. The damage was done, and there was no going back. But I wanted to help her find a way forward, if only for the sake of our children. "Focus on being a good mother, Jess. Show them that you're there for them no matter what. That's the best thing you can do right now." As we parted ways, I felt a mixture of relief and sadness. Jess was facing the consequences of her actions, and while I couldn't fix her problems, I hoped she would find the strength to rebuild her life. Over the next few weeks, I noticed small changes. Jess made a concerted effort to spend quality time with the kids, and they began to respond positively. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but there were glimmers of progress. One evening, as Megan and I were preparing dinner, Tommy approached me. "Dad, Mom seems different. She's trying hard. Do you think she's okay?" I glanced at Megan, who gave me an encouraging nod. "I think she's trying to be better, Tommy. She loves you and Lily very much, and she wants to make things right. It's going to take time, but she's working on it." Tommy seemed to ponder this for a moment before nodding. "Okay, Dad. I hope she can be happy again." Seeing the kids' willingness to forgive and move forward gave me hope that despite everything, we could find a way to coexist and support each other as a fractured yet functioning family. Jess continued to face challenges, but she also began to find small victories. She secured a new job, and her interactions with the kids improved. They still spent most of their time with me and Megan, but the strained relationship with their mother started to mend slowly. One weekend, Jess invited us all to a small barbecue at her place. It was an olive branch, a gesture of goodwill. Initially hesitant, I agreed, seeing it as an opportunity to show the kids that we could still come together for their sake. The barbecue was surprisingly pleasant. Jess was more relaxed, and the kids enjoyed the time with both their parents. Megan's presence was a testament to the new chapter we were writing, one that included Jess as a part of the extended family. As the evening drew to a close, Jess pulled me aside. "Thank you for coming, Tom. It means a lot to the kids, and to me." I nodded, feeling a sense of closure. "We're all trying to move forward, Jess. The kids need to see that." Driving home that night, I reflected on how far we had come. The road had been painful and challenging, but we were finding a way through. Jess's struggles served as a reminder that forgiveness and redemption were possible, even if the path was difficult. With Megan by my side and the kids thriving, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Our journey was far from over, but we were moving forward one step at a time towards a brighter and more hopeful future. Life seemed to be settling into a stable and happy rhythm. The children were thriving. Megan and I were stronger than ever, and Jess was making strides in rebuilding her relationship with the kids. However, just as it seemed we had found our footing, an unexpected turn of events threw everything into chaos. One crisp autumn morning, I received a call from Tommy's school. The principal's voice was serious, tinged with concern. "Mr. Carter, I need you to come to the school immediately. There's been an incident with Tommy." My heart raced as I drove to the school, 100 scenarios running through my mind. When I arrived, I was directed to the principal's office where I found Tommy sitting, looking anxious and upset. "Tommy, what happened?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. The principal stepped in. "Mr. Carter, Tommy was involved in a fight with another student. It seems there have been ongoing issues with bullying, and today things escalated." Tommy's eyes filled with tears. "Dad, I didn't start it. He's been picking on me and calling me names ever since. Since everything happened with Mom." I felt a surge of anger and protectiveness. Bullying was something no parent wanted their child to endure, especially given everything else Tommy had been through. "We'll handle this, Tommy. I promise." After speaking with the principal and assuring her that we would address the issue, I took Tommy home. Megan was waiting for us, and she immediately enveloped him in a comforting hug. "Tommy, are you okay?" He nodded, but I could see the emotional toll the incident had taken on him. That evening, we sat down as a family to discuss what had happened. I reassured Tommy that we would work with the school to ensure his safety and well-being. The next few days were tense as we navigated the school's response to the bullying. Megan and I met with the principal and the parents of the other child involved. It was a difficult process, but ultimately the school took steps to address the situation and provide Tommy with the support he needed. Amidst this turmoil, Jess reached out, expressing her concern and offering to help in any way she could. Despite our differences, it was clear that she deeply cared for Tommy and wanted to support him. We decided to involve her in the discussions with the school, presenting a united front for Tommy's sake. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Tommy spoke up. "Dad, Mom, Megan, thank you for helping me. I was really scared, but knowing you're all here for me makes me feel better." His words were a poignant reminder of how far we had come as a family. Despite the challenges, we were working together to support each other. Amidst the challenges, there was a moment of unexpected joy. One weekend, we decided to take a short trip to the mountains for a family getaway. The fresh air and beautiful scenery were a welcome break from the stresses of daily life. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, I took Megan for a walk along a quiet trail. The sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, and the crisp air filled our lungs. I turned to her, feeling a rush of emotions. "Megan, I've been thinking a lot about our future. You've brought so much love and stability into our lives. I can't imagine my life without you." She smiled, her eyes shimmering with tears. "Tom, I feel the same way. We've been through so much together, and I know we can face anything as long as we have each other." Taking a deep breath, I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, I revealed a simple but elegant ring. "Megan, will you marry me?" Her gasp of surprise turned into a radiant smile. "Yes, Tom, of course I will." We embraced, the future suddenly feeling brighter and more certain than ever. As we walked back to the cabin hand in hand, I knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. Back at the cabin, we shared the news with Tommy and Lily, who were overjoyed. Jess, too, expressed her happiness for us when we informed her. It felt like a significant step towards healing and building a blended family filled with love and mutual respect. The unexpected turn of events had tested our resilience, but it had also brought us closer together. With Megan's unwavering support, Jess's efforts to mend her relationship with the kids, and our collective determination to create a loving environment, we were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As we moved forward, I felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had led us to this moment. Life was far from perfect, but with the love and support of those around us, we were building a future filled with hope, happiness, and endless possibilities. The news of our engagement brought a sense of excitement and anticipation that permeated our lives. Megan and I began planning our wedding, and the kids were thrilled to be a part of it. Amidst the preparations, life continued with its usual ups and downs, but the promise of a new beginning kept us grounded and hopeful. One evening, as Megan and I sat down to discuss the wedding details, she brought up a topic that had been on my mind as well. "Tom, have you thought about where we're going to live after we get married? I mean, with the kids and everything, we need a place that feels like home for all of us." I nodded, understanding her concerns. "I've been thinking about that too. This apartment has been great for us, but it's time to find a place that we can call our own, a place where we can build new memories." We decided to start house hunting, involving the kids in the process to make them feel included. Over the next few weeks, we toured several houses, each one bringing a new set of possibilities and dreams. The kids were excited, their enthusiasm contagious as they imagined what their new rooms might look like. One sunny Saturday, we visited a house that immediately felt different. It was a charming two-story home with a spacious backyard and plenty of room for the kids to play. As we walked through the rooms, I could see the excitement in Tommy and Lily's eyes. Megan and I exchanged a glance, both of us feeling that this could be the place where we started our new life together. After a few more discussions and careful consideration, we decided to make an offer. The day we received the news that our offer had been accepted was filled with joy and a sense of accomplishment. We were taking a significant step towards our future, and it felt right. Amidst the house hunting and wedding planning, Jess continued to be a part of our lives. She was making genuine efforts to rebuild her relationship with the kids, and while things weren't perfect, there was noticeable progress. We maintained open communication, ensuring that the children's needs were always at the forefront. One evening, Jess called and asked if we could meet. We decided to get together at a nearby park, a neutral and familiar place for both of us. As we sat on a bench, watching the kids play, Jess turned to me with a serious expression. "Tom, I want to thank you for everything, for being understanding, and for letting me be a part of the kids' lives. I know I made terrible mistakes, but I'm trying to be better. And I'm genuinely happy for you and Megan. You deserve this happiness." Her words were sincere, and I could see the effort she was making to move forward. "Jess, we all make mistakes. What's important is that you're trying to make things right. The kids need both of us, and as long as we're doing our best for them, that's what matters." We sat in comfortable silence for a while, a sense of peace settling between us. It wasn't about forgetting the past, but about learning to coexist and support each other in our new realities. As the wedding day approached, the excitement in our household grew. Tommy and Lily were involved in every step of the process, from choosing the flowers to picking out their outfits. It was a family affair, and their joy was infectious. One evening, Megan and I sat down with the kids to discuss what the wedding would mean for all of us. "This wedding isn't just about Megan and me," I explained. "It's about us becoming a family. We're starting a new chapter together, and we want you to know how important you are in this journey." Lily climbed onto Megan's lap, her eyes wide with excitement. "Does that mean Megan will be our mom too?" Megan hugged her tightly. "I'll always be here for you, Lily. I'm not replacing your mom, but I love you and Tommy very much. We're all in this together." Tommy nodded thoughtfully. "I like that. I like that we're all a family." The day of the wedding was filled with love and joy. Surrounded by family and friends, Megan and I exchanged vows, promising to support and cherish each other. The kids stood by our side, a symbol of the unity and strength we had built together. As we danced under the stars that night, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Despite the challenges and heartaches, we found our way to a place of happiness and hope. Our future was bright, and with Megan and the kids by my side, I knew we could face anything. Moving into our new home marked the beginning of our next chapter. It was a place where laughter echoed through the halls, where we built new traditions, and where love was the foundation of everything we did. Jess continued to be a part of our extended family, and we worked together to ensure the kids felt loved and supported from all sides. Life wasn't perfect, but it was real, filled with moments of joy, struggle, and everything in between. With Megan's unwavering support and the strength of our family, I felt ready to embrace whatever the future held. We were building a life rooted in love, resilience, and the promise of brighter days ahead. While our family was flourishing and finding new stability, Jess's life seemed to be taking a turn for the worse. The initial progress she had made in rebuilding her relationship with the kids and finding some semblance of stability was starting to unravel. Her struggles became more evident, and it was clear that she was battling more than just the consequences of her past actions. One evening, after picking up the kids from Jess's house, Tommy looked unusually quiet. As we drove home, I gently probed, "Hey, buddy, is everything okay?" Tommy hesitated before speaking. "Dad, I think something's wrong with Mom. She's been acting weird. She forgets things a lot, and sometimes she doesn't seem like herself." My heart sank. I had noticed some of these signs myself during our brief interactions, but hearing it from Tommy confirmed my fears. When we got home, I spoke to Megan about it, and we decided to keep a closer eye on the situation. Over the next few weeks, it became increasingly clear that Jess was struggling more than we had realized. Her job performance had been slipping, and she seemed more and more detached when she was with the kids. One evening, I received a call from Jess's boss, expressing concern about her erratic behavior and frequent absences from work. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I called Jess and asked if we could meet. We decided to talk at her place, and when I arrived, I found her looking disheveled and exhausted. Her once bright eyes were now clouded with worry and fatigue. "Jess, what's going on? The kids are worried and I'm worried too. You're not yourself," I said, trying to keep my tone gentle but firm. She sighed deeply, tears welling up in her eyes. "Tom, I've been struggling. After everything that happened, I thought I could handle it, but it's been so hard. I lost my job, and I've been drinking more than I should. I feel like I'm losing control of my life." Her admission hit me hard. Despite everything, I didn't want to see her spiral out of control. "Jess, you need help. This isn't something you can handle on your own. For the sake of the kids and yourself, you need to get better." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know, Tom. I just didn't know where to turn. I don't want to lose the kids, but I'm scared." We talked for a long time that evening, discussing possible steps she could take to get back on track. I encouraged her to seek professional help, suggesting therapy and possibly rehab if her drinking was as severe as she indicated. Jess agreed, her desperation clear. The next few days were a whirlwind of arranging appointments and making sure Jess had the support she needed. I contacted her family, letting them know what was happening. They rallied around her, offering their help and support. In the meantime, I took on more responsibilities with the kids, ensuring they felt secure and loved despite the turmoil surrounding their mother. Megan was a rock, providing emotional support to both the kids and me as we navigated this difficult period. Jess entered a rehabilitation program, and for the first time in a long while, I saw a glimmer of hope in her eyes. She was taking the first steps towards recovery, and while the road ahead was long, she was no longer walking it alone. During this time, we kept the kids informed in a way that was appropriate for their age. We explained that their mom was getting help to feel better and that it was a positive step for everyone. They were resilient, but the impact of Jess's struggles was evident. They leaned on Megan and me, and we made sure to provide them with as much stability and love as possible. As Jess worked through her issues in rehab, the kids and I focused on our healing and growth. We continued to build our life with Megan, finding joy in the everyday moments and looking forward to our future together. Family game nights, weekend trips, and simple dinners at home became the foundation of our happiness. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Tommy turned to me and said, "Dad, do you think Mom will get better?" I hugged him close. "I hope so, Tommy. She's taking the right steps, and with our support and her determination, she has a good chance." Megan added, "Your mom loves you both very much, and she's working hard to be better for you. We're all here for her and each other." The kids nodded, comforted by our words. Despite the uncertainty, they were learning the importance of hope, resilience, and the power of family. As Jess's rehabilitation progressed, she began to show signs of improvement. Her visits with the kids became more consistent, and she seemed more present and engaged. It was a slow and challenging journey, but she was making progress. Through it all, our new family dynamic grew stronger. Megan's unwavering support and love were the glue that held us together, and the kids thrived in the nurturing environment we created. While Jess's downfall brought significant challenges, it also highlighted the strength and resilience we had as a family. As we moved forward, I knew that the path ahead would have its obstacles, but with love, patience, and determination, we were ready to face whatever came our way. Our story was one of growth, healing, and the unwavering bond of family, and I was grateful for every step of the journey. Jess's rehabilitation marked a turning point, but it wasn't long before old habits began to resurface. The initial progress she made gave way to troubling behavior that threatened the fragile peace we had worked so hard to build. Jess's struggles with sobriety and stability continued, but more concerning were her attempts to manipulate the situation to regain control. One afternoon, while picking up the kids from Jess's house, she approached me with a seemingly benign request. "Tom, I was thinking it might be good for the kids if we spent more time together as a family. Maybe we could have dinner all together sometime." I was cautious but willing to consider anything that might benefit Tommy and Lily. "That sounds reasonable, Jess. I'll talk to Megan and see what we can arrange." However, what seemed like a simple request soon revealed deeper intentions. Jess began calling and texting more frequently, often under the guise of needing help or advice regarding the kids. Her messages became increasingly personal, and she subtly hinted at the possibility of rekindling our relationship, despite knowing I was happily engaged to Megan. One evening, Megan and I sat down to discuss the situation. She had been incredibly supportive and understanding, but I could see the toll it was taking on her. "Tom, I understand that Jess is struggling, but her constant interference is affecting us. We need to set some boundaries." I nodded, feeling the weight of the situation. "You're right, Megan. I've been trying to be supportive, but I can't let her manipulate our lives. I'll talk to her and make it clear that we need to focus on what's best for the kids." The next day, I met with Jess at a local park, hoping the public setting would keep the conversation civil. "Jess, we need to talk about boundaries. I'm happy to co-parent and support you, but your constant calls and texts are crossing a line. We need to focus on the kids and keep our interactions professional." She looked taken aback, then defensive. "Tom, I'm just trying to do what's best for the kids. They need us to be a family." I sighed, trying to keep my frustration in check. "Jess, they need stability and consistency. Megan and I are providing that for them. You need to respect our boundaries and focus on your recovery." She reluctantly agreed, but her behavior didn't change. The manipulations became more subtle and insidious. She would undermine Megan's role in the kids' lives, making comments about how things were done before Megan, and trying to create a divide. One evening, after another round of undermining comments from Jess, Tommy came to me with a worried expression. "Dad, why does Mom always say things were better before? I like how things are now." I hugged him, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "Tommy, your mom is going through a tough time, and sometimes she says things she shouldn't. What's important is that you're happy and loved. We're doing our best to make sure you have everything you need." Realizing that Jess's behavior was impacting the kids more than I had thought, Megan and I decided to seek legal advice. We needed to protect our family and ensure that Jess's manipulations didn't cause further harm. Our lawyer suggested revisiting the custody arrangement and setting stricter guidelines for communication and visitation. It was a difficult decision, but one we felt was necessary for the well-being of Tommy and Lily. As the legal process unfolded, Jess's behavior became more erratic. She accused us of trying to take the kids away from her and even tried to manipulate the children into believing they should live with her full-time. It was a painful and challenging period, but we remained steadfast in our commitment to providing a stable and loving environment for the kids. Throughout this turmoil, Megan's support was unwavering. She was a pillar of strength, helping me navigate the complexities of the situation and providing a loving home for Tommy and Lily. Her dedication to our family only deepened my love and appreciation for her. One evening, after a particularly stressful day, we sat together on the porch, the cool night air providing a sense of calm. "Tom, no matter what happens, we'll get through this together. The kids need us, and we're doing the right thing." I took her hand, grateful for her presence. "Thank you, Megan. I don't know what I'd do without you. We're stronger together, and we'll make sure the kids come through this okay." As the custody case progressed, the court recognized the stability and love we provided. The new arrangements included stricter guidelines for Jess's visits and communication, ensuring that the children's best interests were prioritized. In the months that followed, Jess's attempts at manipulation lessened, though the underlying tension remained. We continued to focus on building a happy and stable life for Tommy and Lily, creating new memories and traditions as a family. Despite the challenges, the bond between Megan, the kids, and me grew stronger. We faced each obstacle with determination and love, knowing that our commitment to each other and the children would see us through. As we moved forward, I remained hopeful that Jess would find her way to a better place. But no matter what the future held, I knew that with Megan by my side and the strength of our family, we could overcome any challenge. Our journey was far from over, but each step brought us closer to the life we had dreamed of, one filled with love, resilience, and the unwavering promise of a brighter future. Life seemed to be stabilizing once again after the legal battles and boundary setting with Jess. Our family was thriving, and the new custody arrangements provided the consistency and security Tommy and Lily needed. However, just as we began to settle into this new normal, an unexpected event shook our lives to the core. One Friday evening, as we were preparing for our usual family game night, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. The voice on the other end identified herself as a nurse from the local hospital. My heart sank as she explained that Jess had been brought in following a severe car accident. Her condition was critical, and they needed me to come immediately. I looked at Megan, who had overheard enough to understand the gravity of the situation. "Tom, go. I'll stay with the kids and explain as best as I can. They need to know." Arriving at the hospital, I was directed to the intensive care unit where Jess lay unconscious, surrounded by beeping machines and medical staff. The doctor explained that she had sustained significant injuries and was in a coma. The prognosis was uncertain. As I sat by Jess's bedside, memories of our life together flooded back. Our wedding day, the birth of our children, the laughter and love we once shared. Despite everything that had happened, seeing her like this was heartbreaking. She was the mother of my children, and a part of me still cared deeply for her well-being. Over the next few days, I spent as much time as I could at the hospital, balancing my visits with the needs of Tommy and Lily. Megan was my rock, holding everything together at home and providing the emotional support I desperately needed. One afternoon, as I sat with Jess, the doctor approached with a solemn expression. Mr. Carter, we need to discuss Jess's condition. She hasn't shown any signs of improvement, and we need to start considering long-term care options. The weight of his words hit me hard. The reality that Jess might never fully recover was overwhelming. I knew we had to prepare for the possibility that our lives were about to change drastically once again. Megan and I sat down with Tommy and Lily to explain the situation as gently as we could. Your mom was in a very bad accident, I began, struggling to keep my voice steady. She's in the hospital, and the doctors are doing everything they can to help her. Tommy's eyes filled with tears. Is she going to be okay, Dad? I took a deep breath. We don't know yet, Tommy, but she's very sick, and it might take a long time for her to get better. We need to be strong for her and each other. Lily clung to Megan, her small body shaking with sobs. I'm scared, Dad. Megan hugged her tightly. It's okay to be scared, Lily. We're all here for each other, and we'll get through this together. As the days turned into weeks, the doctors confirmed that Jess's condition was unlikely to improve significantly. We had to make the difficult decision to move her to a long-term care facility. It was a heart-wrenching choice, but one we knew was necessary for her well-being. With Jess in long-term care, our focus shifted to providing stability and support for Tommy and Lily. They visited their mom regularly, and we worked hard to help them process their emotions and adjust to this new reality. One evening, as Megan and I sat on the porch after putting the kids to bed, I expressed my gratitude for her unwavering support. Megan, I don't know how I would have gotten through this without you. You've been incredible. She squeezed my hand. Tom, we're a team. We'll face whatever comes our way together. The kids need us, and we need each other. Despite the challenges, our bond grew even stronger. The kids continued to thrive in the loving environment we provided, and we made sure to keep Jess's presence in their lives, even if she couldn't be with us in the same way. One weekend, we decided to take a trip to a nearby beach, a place filled with happy memories and a chance to create new ones. As we walked along the shore, watching Tommy and Lily play in the sand, I felt a sense of peace and hope. Tommy ran up to me, a big smile on his face. Dad, can we come back here every year? It's so much fun. I ruffled his hair, smiling back. Of course, buddy. This can be our special place. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the water, I took Megan's hand. We've been through so much, but I know we can face anything as long as we're together. She leaned her head on my shoulder. We've built something beautiful out of the ashes, Tom. Our love and our family are stronger than ever. Looking at the horizon, I knew that while the road ahead would have its challenges, we had the strength, love, and resilience to face them. Jess's tragedy was a stark reminder of life's unpredictability, but it also highlighted the importance of cherishing every moment and holding on to the ones we love. Our journey was far from over, but with each step, we moved closer to a future filled with hope, love, and the promise of brighter days ahead. The months following Jess's move to the long-term care facility were challenging, but gradually, a sense of normalcy began to return to our lives. We visited Jess regularly, ensuring she felt our presence and support, even in her unconscious state. It was important for the kids to maintain a connection with their mother, and we wanted to provide them with stability and love during this difficult time. One sunny afternoon, as we returned from one of our visits, Tommy and Lily seemed unusually quiet. I decided to take them to the park to lift their spirits. While Megan and I watched from a nearby bench, they played on the swings and climbed the jungle gym. Dad, Tommy said, running over to me, can we talk? Of course, Tommy. What's on your mind? He sat down next to me, his expression serious. I miss Mom. I know she's not coming home, but it's hard. I nodded, feeling his pain. I miss her too, buddy. It's okay to feel that way. We're all here for each other, and we'll get through this together. Lily joined us, snuggling into Megan's lap. Will Mom ever wake up? Megan stroked her hair gently. We don't know, sweetie, but she knows we're there for her, and that's important. We have to keep hoping and loving her. Their questions were heartbreaking, but I knew honesty and reassurance were crucial. We spent the rest of the afternoon talking and playing, trying to create new, happy memories to balance the sadness. Back at home, life settled into a comforting routine. Megan and I continued to focus on building a strong and loving environment for the kids. We celebrated small victories and cherished everyday moments, family dinners, game nights, and weekend outings. One evening, as we were preparing dinner, Megan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. Tom, I've been thinking, maybe it's time we officially make our family complete. I mean, with everything that's happened, it might be a good idea to legally adopt Tommy and Lily. The idea had crossed my mind before, but hearing Megan suggest it filled me with gratitude and love. Megan, that's a wonderful idea. You've been like a mother to them already, and making it official would mean so much to all of us. We sat down with Tommy and Lily to discuss the possibility of Megan adopting them. Their eyes lit up with excitement and relief. Really? Megan can be our mom for real? Tommy asked, his voice full of hope. Yes, if that's what you want, Megan replied, tears of joy in her eyes. I love you both very much, and I would be honored to be your mom. Lily hugged Megan tightly. I want that too. I love you, Megan. The decision was unanimous. We contacted our lawyer and began the adoption process. It was a lengthy and sometimes complicated procedure, but we were determined to see it through. As the adoption process progressed, we continued to visit Jess, keeping her informed of our decision, even if she couldn't respond. We wanted her to know that the kids would always be loved and cared for, no matter what. The day of the adoption finalization arrived with a mix of emotions. We gathered at the courthouse, surrounded by family and friends who had supported us throughout our journey. The judge, a kind and understanding woman, listened to our story and reviewed the paperwork. Tommy and Lily, she addressed the children with a warm smile. Do you understand what today means? Tommy nodded eagerly. Yes, it means Megan will be our mom forever. The judge's smile broadened. That's right. And do you both want that? Yes! They chorused, their voices filled with excitement and certainty. With a few signatures and the judge's approval, it was official. Megan was now legally their mother. The courtroom erupted in applause, and we embraced each other, tears of joy and relief streaming down our faces. Later that evening, we held a small celebration at home. Surrounded by loved ones, we toasted to our new beginning. Megan made a heartfelt speech, expressing her love and commitment to our family. This has been an incredible journey, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this family. Tommy, Lily, I promise to always be here for you, to love you, and to support you, no matter what. Tommy and Lily hugged her tightly, their faces radiant with happiness. We love you too, Mom, Tommy said, his voice full of emotion. As the night drew to a close and our guests left, we sat together in the living room reflecting on the day's events. We've come so far, I said, holding Megan's hand. Despite everything, we've built something truly beautiful. Megan nodded, her eyes shining with tears. We have, Tom, and I'm so grateful for every moment. Looking at Tommy and Lily, who had fallen asleep on the couch, I felt a profound sense of peace. Our journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also brought us closer together and made us stronger. As we moved forward, I knew that our family was ready to face whatever the future held. We had each other, and that was enough. Our story was one of love, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family. With Megan by my side and the support of our loved ones, I felt confident that we could overcome any obstacle and continue building a life filled with joy, hope, and endless possibilities. With Megan's adoption of Tommy and Lily officially completed, our family felt more united than ever. The house was filled with laughter, love, and a sense of security that we had all yearned for. It was a time of healing and growth, a time to cherish the present and look forward to the future. One bright Saturday morning, we decided to have a picnic at the park to celebrate our new beginning. The sun was shining, and the air was filled with the sounds of birds chirping and children playing. Megan and I packed a basket with sandwiches, fruits, and treats, while Tommy and Lily excitedly grabbed their favorite toys and a frisbee. At the park, we found a perfect spot under a large oak tree. The kids immediately ran off to play, their joyful laughter echoing through the air. Megan and I spread out a blanket and sat down, watching them with smiles on our faces. This is perfect, Megan said, leaning her head on my shoulder. I can't imagine anything better than this. I kissed her forehead, feeling a deep sense of contentment. Neither can I. We've come a long way, and it's moments like these that make it all worth it. As we enjoyed our picnic, we talked about our plans for the future. We wanted to create lasting memories with the kids, to give them a childhood filled with love and happiness. We discussed trips we wanted to take, traditions we wanted to start, and dreams we wanted to pursue. One of the ideas we came up with was to take a family road trip during the summer. We would travel across the country, visiting national parks, historical landmarks, and fun attractions. The kids were thrilled at the idea, and we spent the afternoon brainstorming destinations and activities. Back at home, the preparations for the road trip began in earnest. We bought maps, planned routes, and made reservations. The excitement was palpable, and it brought us even closer as a family. The day of the trip finally arrived. We packed the car with everything we needed and set off on our adventure. The kids were buzzing with excitement, and Megan and I couldn't stop smiling. It was a journey that would take us through beautiful landscapes, bustling cities, and quiet, serene places. Our first stop was a national park, where we set up camp and spent the days hiking, fishing, and exploring the natural beauty around us. Tommy and Lily were in awe of the towering trees, the sparkling rivers, and the diverse wildlife. We roasted marshmallows by the campfire, told stories, and gazed at the star-filled sky, feeling a deep connection to each other and the world around us. From there, we traveled to historical sites, teaching the kids about the rich history of our country. We visited museums, monuments, and old towns, each place adding to our collection of memories. The road trip was not just a vacation. It was an educational and bonding experience that strengthened our family ties. In the evenings, as we settled into various hotels or campgrounds, we talked about our favorite moments of the day. It was heartwarming to see Tommy and Lily's faces light up as they recounted their adventures. They were growing, learning, and most importantly, they were happy. One night, while camping near a serene lake, Tommy asked if he could say something. "Dad, Megan, I just want to thank you. This trip is amazing and I love our family. I feel so lucky." Lily nodded in agreement, hugging Megan. "Me too. I love you, Mom and Dad." Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked at Megan. "We love you too, more than anything. This trip is special because we're together." As the trip continued, we created countless memories. We rode horses in the mountains, explored bustling city streets, enjoyed quiet picnics in scenic spots, and laughed together over silly jokes and games. Every moment was a testament to the love and resilience that had brought us to this point. When we finally returned home, we were exhausted but filled with joy. The house felt even more like a home, a place where love and happiness thrived. We unpacked our bags, but the memories of our journey stayed with us, etched into our hearts. Megan and I tucked the kids into bed that night, listening to their excited chatter about the trip. As we closed their bedroom door, Megan turned to me with a smile. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" I nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "Yes, it is. We have so much to look forward to, so many more adventures to come." Our journey as a family was far from over. There would be challenges, no doubt, but there would also be endless opportunities for love, growth, and happiness. Together, we were ready to face whatever the future held, knowing that we had built a strong foundation of love and resilience. As I lay in bed that night, with Megan by my side, I thought about the road we had traveled to get here. It had been filled with heartache, struggle, and uncertainty, but it had also led us to a place of deep love and joy. Our family was stronger than ever, and I was grateful for every moment that had brought us to this new beginning. The future was bright, and with Megan and the kids by my side, I felt ready to embrace it with open arms. Our story was one of love, perseverance, and the unbreakable bond of family, and I knew that the best was yet to come. Our lives were filled with newfound joy and stability, but Jess's presence remained a shadow over our happiness. Despite our best efforts to support her and maintain boundaries, her behavior became increasingly erratic after her accident and prolonged stay in long-term care. The situation reached a boiling point one evening, leading to a final reckoning that none of us could have anticipated. It started with a phone call from the long-term care facility. Jess had discharged herself against medical advice, and no one knew where she had gone. Concerned for her safety and the potential impact on the kids, Megan and I contacted her family and friends, trying to track her down. Later that night, as we sat in the living room discussing what to do next, there was a loud knock at the door. I opened it to find Jess standing there, looking disheveled and agitated. Her eyes were wild and she seemed barely coherent. "Tom, I need to talk to you," she said, her voice slurring slightly. "You can't keep the kids from me. I'm their mother." I took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. Jess, you need help. This isn't the way to handle things. Let's talk about this rationally. Megan appeared beside me, her expression filled with concern. Jess, please come inside. We can help you. But Jess wasn't in the mood to listen. She pushed past us, her anger palpable. You think you can replace me? She shouted at Megan. You think you can just take my place? The kids, who had been upstairs, came down to see what the commotion was about. Tommy and Lily's faces were filled with fear and confusion. Mom, what's happening? Tommy asked, his voice trembling. Jess's demeanor softened for a moment as she looked at them, but the anger quickly returned. I'm taking you with me, she declared. We're leaving. I stepped in front of her, my heart pounding. Jess, you're not well. The kids are staying here. You need to calm down and let us help you. She erupted in fury, screaming incoherently and lashing out. Megan called 911, and within minutes, the police arrived. They assessed the situation and, recognizing Jess's unstable state, gently restrained her and took her to the hospital. The house was eerily quiet after they left. Tommy and Lily were shaken, clinging to Megan and me for comfort. We reassured them as best we could, explaining that their mom was sick and needed help, and that everything would be okay. The next few days were tense as we waited for updates from the hospital. Jess's breakdown had been severe, and she was placed under psychiatric care for evaluation. It was a stark reminder of how fragile her mental state had become and how difficult her journey to recovery would be. One afternoon, we received a call from Jess's psychiatrist, Dr. Reynolds. He wanted to meet with us to discuss her condition and the next steps. Megan and I went to the hospital, our hearts heavy with concern. Mr. Carter, Mrs. Carter, Dr. Reynolds began. Jess has been diagnosed with a severe mental health disorder. Her recent behavior is indicative of a deep-seated issue that has likely been exacerbated by her substance abuse and the trauma of the past few years. I felt a lump in my throat. What can we do to help her? She needs intensive treatment, both for her mental health and her addiction, Dr. Reynolds explained. It's a long road, but with the right support, there is hope for improvement. However, it's important to recognize that her condition may never fully stabilize. We discussed the best options for Jess's care, ultimately deciding that a long-term inpatient program was the most appropriate course of action. It was a difficult decision, but we knew it was necessary for her well-being and the safety of our family. Returning home, Megan and I sat down with Tommy and Lily to explain what was happening. It was a heartbreaking conversation, but we emphasized that their mom was getting the help she needed and that we would support her every step of the way. Tommy looked up at me, his eyes filled with concern. Will Mom ever get better? I hugged him tightly. We hope so, Tommy. She's in the best place for her right now, and we'll do everything we can to help her. But no matter what, you have us, and we'll always be here for you. Lily, snuggled close to Megan, asked softly, Can we visit her? Yes, sweetheart, Megan replied gently. We'll visit her as soon as she's ready. She needs to get better first, but we'll make sure she knows we love her and are thinking of her. In the weeks that followed, we settled back into our routine, focusing on providing a stable and loving environment for the kids. Jess's absence was noticeable, but it also brought a sense of relief. We could finally breathe without the constant fear of her unpredictable behavior disrupting our lives. We arranged visits to the facility where Jess was being treated, ensuring that Tommy and Lily had the opportunity to see her and maintain a connection. Each visit was emotionally challenging, but it was clear that Jess was receiving the care she needed. As time passed, the kids adjusted to the new reality. They continued to thrive, supported by the love and stability that Megan and I provided. Our bond grew stronger, fortified by the challenges we had faced together. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Tommy spoke up. Dad, Megan, thank you for always being there for us. We know it's not easy with everything that's happened, but we're really happy here. Megan reached across the table to hold his hand. We're happy too, Tommy, and we'll always be here for you, no matter what. Lily chimed in, her eyes shining with love. We're a family, and that's all that matters. At that moment, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. Despite the difficulties and the heartache, we had built a life filled with love, resilience, and hope. The future was uncertain, But I knew that with Megan by my side and the strength of our family, we could face anything. Our journey had been marked by trials and tribulations, but it had also been a testament to the power of love and the unbreakable bond of family. As we moved forward, I felt confident that we would continue to grow and thrive, no matter what challenges lay ahead. With the chaos of Jess's breakdown behind us, our family began to find a new sense of normalcy. The stability that Megan and I worked so hard to provide was finally paying off. We decided to focus on creating new traditions and memories that would strengthen our bond and give the kids a sense of security and joy. One of the first new traditions we established was a weekly family movie night. Every Friday, we would gather in the living room, make a big bowl of popcorn, and watch a movie together. It was a simple activity, but it brought us closer and gave us something to look forward to at the end of each week. One Friday evening, as we were picking a movie, Tommy suggested, "Why don't we each take turns choosing the movie? That way, we all get a chance to watch something we like." Megan smiled, ruffling his hair. "That's a great idea, Tommy. You can go first this week." Tommy picked an action-packed adventure film, and we spent the evening laughing, cheering, and enjoying each other's company. It was moments like these that made me realize how far we had come and how much we had to be thankful for. Another tradition we started was a monthly family outing. Whether it was a trip to the zoo, a hike in the mountains, or a visit to a nearby museum, these outings became special days that we all cherished. They allowed us to explore new places, learn new things, and create lasting memories together. One sunny Saturday, we decided to visit a nearby botanical garden. The kids were fascinated by the vibrant flowers, towering trees, and the variety of plants from around the world. We spent the day wandering through the gardens, taking photos, and learning about the different species. Lily, who had recently developed an interest in photography, brought her camera and took dozens of pictures. "Look, Dad, this flower is so beautiful. Can we make a photo album with all the pictures I took?" "That's a wonderful idea, Lily," I replied, proud of her creativity. "We can start a family photo album and add pictures from all our outings." Megan added, "We can even make it a project for rainy days. We'll print the pictures, write little captions, and create something special together." As the months passed, our new traditions became an integral part of our lives. They provided structure, joy, and a sense of togetherness that was incredibly important for the kids. They thrived in the loving and supportive environment we had created, and it filled my heart with happiness to see them so content. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Tommy and Lily began discussing the upcoming holidays. "What are we going to do for Thanksgiving this year?" Tommy asked. Megan and I exchanged a glance, both of us knowing how significant this question was. The holidays had always been a source of stress and tension in the past, but now we had the chance to create new positive experiences. "We were thinking of starting a new tradition," Megan said with a smile. "How about we host a Thanksgiving dinner at our home and invite our friends and family? We can all cook together, play games, and share what we're thankful for." The kids' faces lit up with excitement. "Yes, that sounds awesome," Lily exclaimed. Tommy nodded enthusiastically. "And we can make our decorations and set up the table fancy." In the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving, we planned and prepared together as a family. We made decorations, planned the menu, and even practiced a few recipes. The anticipation and teamwork brought us even closer, and the kids loved being involved in every step of the process. When Thanksgiving Day finally arrived, our home was filled with warmth, laughter, and the delicious aroma of a feast in the making. Friends and family gathered, bringing dishes to share and adding to the festive atmosphere. We spent the day cooking, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. As we sat down to dinner, Megan suggested we go around the table and share what we were thankful for. When it was Tommy's turn, he said, "I'm thankful for our family and all the fun times we have together, and I'm thankful for Megan for being such a great mom." Lily added, "I'm thankful for all the new traditions we've started and for everyone being so happy." When it was my turn, I looked around the table at the faces of those I loved. "I'm thankful for every one of you, for the love, support, and joy you bring into my life. And I'm especially thankful for Megan, for being my rock and for loving Tommy and Lily as her own." Megan's eyes filled with tears as she spoke. "I'm thankful for this beautiful family, for the laughter and love we share, and for the strength we've found together. I couldn't ask for anything more. The evening was a resounding success, filled with joy and gratitude. As we cleaned up and settled in for the night, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. Our new traditions had not only brought us closer, but had also healed many of the wounds from the past. As the year went on, we continued to build on these traditions, adding new ones and cherishing each moment together. We celebrated birthdays, holidays, and everyday victories with the same love and enthusiasm. The bond between us grew stronger with each passing day, and I knew that we were creating a foundation of love and stability that would last a lifetime. Life had tested us in many ways, but we had emerged stronger and more united than ever. With Megan by my side and the love of our family, I felt ready to face whatever the future held. Our journey was one of resilience, hope, and the unwavering power of love, and I knew that the best was yet to come. Life continued to be a tapestry of joy and new beginnings, but amidst the happiness, an undercurrent of worry persisted. Jess's condition remained a significant concern. She had been in and out of treatment, and while there were moments of improvement, her overall health was declining. The situation came to a head one fateful evening, leading to an emotional farewell that would forever change our lives. It was a chilly autumn night when I received the call from the long-term care facility. The nurse's voice was gentle but urgent. "Mr. Carter, you need to come to the hospital. Jess's condition has worsened, and the doctors don't think she has much time left." My heart sank. Despite everything, Jess had been a significant part of our lives, and the thought of losing her was painful. I quickly informed Megan and the kids, and we made our way to the hospital, the drive filled with a heavy silence. Upon arriving, we were greeted by Jess's doctor, Dr. Reynolds. His expression was solemn. "I'm sorry, Tom. Jess's body is shutting down, and there's nothing more we can do. It's time to say goodbye." We entered Jess's room, the sterile smell of the hospital contrasting sharply with the warmth of the memories we had shared. Jess lay in the bed, her face pale and her breathing shallow. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself for what lay ahead. Tommy and Lily approached the bed, their eyes filled with tears. "Mom," Tommy whispered, his voice breaking. "We're here. We love you." Lily clutched Megan's hand, her small frame shaking with sobs. "Please don't go, Mom," she cried. "We need you." Jess's eyes fluttered open, and she managed a weak smile. "I love you both so much," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm so proud of you. Always remember that." I stepped closer, taking her hand in mine. "Jess, we're here for you. You're not alone." She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and gratitude. "Thank you, Tom, for everything. I'm sorry for all the pain I caused. Please take care of our kids." Tears streamed down my face as I nodded. "I promise, Jess. They'll always be loved and cared for." Megan stepped forward, her voice gentle and comforting. "Jess, your children are amazing. They have so much love and strength because of you. We'll make sure they always know how much you love them." Jess's eyes filled with tears, and she squeezed Megan's hand weakly. "Thank you, Megan, for loving them and for being there." The room was filled with a profound sense of sorrow and love as Jess took her final breaths. We held her hands, whispering words of comfort and love until she peacefully passed away. It was a heartbreaking moment, but also one of closure and acceptance. In the days that followed, we prepared for Jess's funeral. We wanted it to be a celebration of her life, a reflection of the good times and the love she had for her children. We involved Tommy and Lily in the preparations, allowing them to choose photos and memories to share. The funeral was a beautiful and emotional affair. Friends and family gathered to pay their respects and share stories of Jess. Tommy and Lily stood by our side, their strength and resilience shining through as they spoke about their mother and the love she had given them. "Mom was always there for us," Tommy said, his voice steady despite his tears. "Even when things were hard, she loved us and tried her best. We'll always remember her and carry her love with us." Lily added, "Mom used to tell me stories and sing to me at night. I'll miss her, but I know she's watching over us." Megan and I also shared our memories, focusing on the positive aspects of Jess's life and the love she had for her children. It was a day of tears, but also healing and reflection. After the funeral, we returned home, feeling the weight of loss, but also a sense of relief. Jess was no longer suffering, and we honored her memory in a way that brought closure and peace to our family. In the weeks that followed, we continued to support each other, finding solace in our love and the new traditions we had established. We visited Jess's grave regularly, bringing flowers and sharing updates about our lives. It became a place of reflection and connection, a reminder of the past, and a symbol of the strength we had found as a family. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, Tommy spoke up. "Dad, Megan, I think Mom would be happy knowing we're all together and taking care of each other. She loved us so much." Megan nodded, her eyes filled with love. "She would be very proud of you both, and we'll always keep her memory alive in our hearts." As we moved forward, we continued to build on the foundation of love and resilience that had carried us through the darkest times. Our family was stronger than ever, and we were ready to embrace the future with hope and determination. Jess's passing was a reminder of life's fragility, but it also underscored the importance of cherishing each moment and holding on to the love that binds us together. With Megan and the kids by my side, I knew that we could face any challenge and continue to build a life filled with joy, hope, and endless possibilities.